Deirdre, I'm curious if you pull up your
Yeah.
screen where you had the jobs, could you just walk us through really briefly what these silos are and maybe a one-liner of the kinds of people that succeed in those specific roles?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. A lot of people want to put testing to what roles are good for people based on personality. And I'm always telling folks it'd be easier if you just really understand what the jobs are. Then people we wouldn't have to be digging so
Right.
hard to figure out the match. How many of us started jobs, particularly our first job, when those guys hired me, I didn't even know what I was going to do. And it wasn't that hard to know what I was gonna do, and yet we're just inexperienced of
Right.
business. And when we don't have the experiences in business as individuals, it can feel like just this endless not knowing space. So, what I would tell you is that if you want to do a job, you can do a job. And what you need to do is really figure out what these jobs are. Like, what is an application security doing, engineer
Mhm.
doing, right? And what is a cloud security engineer doing? Or if I'm talking about DevSecOps or security engineering, what are these people doing? So I will tell you that these roles are very technical,
Mhm.
right? These roles are very technical, and these roles are very technical. There's sales roles that are half technical or excuse me, technical, and then there's sales roles that aren't technical. So sales engineers and then account managers. Those still both exist. So when I think of personalities, I think, do you want to be working more with your computers and communicating through the computer, or do you want to talk more?
Yeah.
Because talking more is going to be the planning, the managing, the sales, the education, and even the compliance, the GRC side of things. These are heavy, heavy interactions with the business. It doesn't mean that these technical roles aren't aren't interacting with the business. It's just less of that comparative.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you're going to be in management, some of the roles require tech to be technical, and some of them don't. And as you get into these areas here, some companies require people to be technical, and some don't.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've met plenty of CISOs that are actually not technical, which is
yes,
very interesting.
Yes, yes, it all depends on the company. So for instance, as a founder, we're a tech company. When I showed you jobs, I'm in my platform. When looking at profiles, that's platform. This is my website. We're a tech company. Again, I'm not technical. I have a product team, I have an IT
Yeah.
team, I have a cyber team, and they respect me and are willing to work for me because I can interact with them and make sense without being technical. And yet, of course, I have to rely on honesty and teamwork from them in order to. That's just the way it goes. Same thing with people that can't do sales that are technical, or maybe technical and can't really speak to the business. Going to be a tough ride in these seats. So I really do both if you can, if you
Yeah.
want to choose one, because you can
Yeah.
still be successful.